The Apostle Paul, in writing to his son in the Gospel, Timothy, penned this in 2 Timothy 2, verse 15. He wrote, "Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman or worker that needeth not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth." I want to just talk, even in a sense, about self study. This doesn't have to be, I'm not taking you to church. I'm just using this as, which I could, because there is definitely clarity in this particular verse about the value of study. Apostle Paul wrote, "Study to show thyself approved." To be approved, you need to study. A work approved unto God, a workman that needeth not be ashamed. Folks, there'll be enough folks that won't study. They'll get up half baked, half witted, uh, shooting from the hip, and they'll be ashamed time and again. Many folks will not put in the late night hours. They won't put up, they won't go come in early, and they won't study in the late hours. Folks, look, there's a value in self study. I know formal education, everybody talks about formal education, but formal education in the business place gets you in the door. It takes specialized self education sometimes to make you rise higher up the corporate ladder. You got to find out what's your thing, and then you got to study it day and night every day. You got to put in the extra hours, burn the midnight oil, see what's, even studying about your own industry. You don't need to be the most ill informed on what's going on in your industry. There's John Patterson said that formal education will earn you a living, but self education will earn you a fortune. If you want to know what separates the men from the boys, the women from the girls, and the champions from those who just were in the race, a lot of times it's based on study. Folks, you got to spend the time. You got to focus on what you do. Focus on what arena that you're in. I mean, you got to find the time. I mean, I think there's a study out that most Americans read one or two books a year, and most CEOs read about 60 books a year. That's self study. There's YouTube videos now. There's any of a number of things. There's webinars, free classes. Folks, look, if you want to move ahead in life, it's going to take some self study. I think it was Sir Walter Scott. He wrote that all men who turned out worth anything have had the chief hand in their own education. Folks, you're responsible for your own education. I'm sorry, I didn't go to Yale. I was smart enough to. I didn't go to Harvard. I should have. So all of those, I got to look way back and look past all of those things, and now I'm responsible for educating myself. I mean, I spent years in the automobile industry, years, and I spent time doing a thing called a credit application. And on more than one occasion, I had somebody who had degree after degree after degree, had more degrees than a thermometer, who looked down on what I'm doing. And then they give me their monthly income or their yearly income. And they said, "Steve, if you go back to school, you can make just what I make." And then I told them, I was a lot more brash then. I said, "Well, I couldn't afford the pay cut." So, look, self study, there's someone doing what you're doing, someone doing it that doesn't have a PhD from an Ivy League school, but they've gone all in. They spend thousands of dollars. I spend thousands of dollars every year on books. I'm not going to watch Netflix all day. I'm not going to I pay every month for a Comcast bill or Xfinity or whatever you call it, but my head's in a book. I use all of my, as many of my waking hours as possible to study to be better than that next guy, to be more mobile, to be more lucid. I mean, if you keep reading over and over again, now if I can buy a successful guy's experiences for $30, he paid blood, sweat, and tears. What is it for me to have my Amazon Prime account and order his experiences and learn from the next guy? I think it's the late Eartha Kitt. She said, I am learning all the time. She said the tombstone will be my diploma. Folks, look, until you're here, you need to be all in on learning, all in on studying. Folks, look, I think I'd spent years, like I said, in the car business. If you got a mechanic that doesn't study, he's totally useless right now. They're changing this and changing that. Even in your industry, if you're going to take your experiences when you graduated from the University of Michigan 25 years ago, you're going to be ill-equipped to fight the changes in the marketplace, the pivots you need to take. Folks, there's invaluable. It's awesome. You got to study. If you want to turn your life, if you want to become great, if you want to be one of the household names, those people all spend money studying. I hear all of these mastermind groups and they're meeting on weekends. I got some gurus, I got some coaches that I'm all in on. And there are people now that to spend an hour or two with them, that's worth $20,000. Folks, look, you can learn from somebody else. Study is what's going to set you apart. Study to show yourselves approved unto God, a workman that needeth not be ashamed. Folks, it's the hours when you study when others aren't looking. That gives you the ability to boggle their minds when they are. The average person doesn't study. If you keep reading books, your vocabulary can't help but get better. I know I'm hitting every now and then I have a little short. I'm short of words, but you gotta think. I did live television for 3 years. 3 years, 30 minutes every Monday night with a whole metropolitan area watching. That's not for the faint of heart. But I had read enough. And that teaches you to be articulate enough to have those words to say in the right moment. Folks, look, don't leave people in a quandary about whether you're worth listening to. Study until they know that they need to listen to you. Don't leave them in a quandary. Don't leave them with questions about your wherewithal or your mental acumen. Be so great, be so studious that you blow them away. Folks, look, I don't have a college degree. Now, that's not meant I took honors English in college. So, I was the only person that was this hue in the class. So I can't blame anybody but me. So the mental ability was there. But folks, at 50-something years old, I'm not trying to retract my steps. I'm not just wanting formal education. I'm all in on specialized education. I have a gift in sales. I have a gift in speaking. And I'm going to study everything I can to be better at those two things. And I promise you, I'm going to study until I catch on fire. And I promise you, the world's going to come and watch me burn. Folks, you can do the same. You better be all in on self-study. You can change your life if you're willing to study. Have an awesome day.